The Ritz-Carlton is known for its legendary customer service. What a lot of people don't know is that the Ritz-Carlton actually inspired many other brands like the Apple Store to elevate its customer experience. In fact, Steve Jobs in 2001, when they were just starting the Apple Store, said to himself, "Who offers the best customer service?" The answer, the Ritz-Carlton. There are many things that Apple learned from the Ritz-Carlton. I'm going to talk about three in particular, three principles that can elevate any business in any industry. Number one, start with a warm welcome. The greeting is one of the most important things you can do when you first interact with a customer or a guest in a hotel, for example. In fact, it's the number one step of service on these little Credo cards that all Ritz-Carlton employees are expected to carry. Number one, use a warm and sincere greeting. Use the guest's name whenever possible. So whenever you walk inside a lobby like we're here in the Ritz-Carlton San Francisco, or if you walk into a gym or a restaurant here, you will be greeted by a very warm, friendly, and passionate employee who will say something like, "Mr. Gallo, it's so nice to see you."
Welcome to the Ritz-Carlton San Francisco, Mr. Gallo. Thank you.
That warm, friendly greeting makes people feel special, valued, appreciated, and most importantly, acknowledged. So start with a warm, friendly greeting. Number one step of service, both here at the Ritz-Carlton and at the Apple Store. The second principle is actually the flip side of what we just talked about, the conclusion of a transaction. End with a fond farewell. Again, that's number three on the Ritz-Carlton card, fond farewell. Give a warm goodbye and use the guest's name whenever possible. So again, when you leave a restaurant or you leave any location at the Ritz-Carlton, it's quite common to hear somebody say, "Mr. Gallo, it was so nice to see you today. We hope you have a wonderful day. Please come back and visit us again." That's ending with a fond farewell, but they're adding one more thing, an invitation to return. The Apple Store does exactly the same thing. So it would be not uncommon to hear somebody say, "I hope you enjoy your new MacBook. I know we talked about using iPhoto. Can't wait to see the new albums that you create on iPhoto. Would you come back and show them to me? I'd love to see them." End with a fond farewell and an invitation to return. They do that at the Ritz-Carlton. They do that at the Apple Store on every single transaction or guest encounter. The reason why the fond farewell is so important is because the last thing you say to a customer or a guest is the very first thing they'll remember when they think about your brand. The third principle to adopt from the Ritz-Carlton, empower your employees. The word empowerment is very important. Here at the Ritz-Carlton, employees are empowered to do what is right for the customer. I remember a story, it's a brief story. My wife and I were actually visiting the Ritz-Carlton Buckhead, which is near Atlanta, and we were dining in a beautiful restaurant, happened to be an especially busy time that day. The waiter, twice during our entire dining experience, offered us food for free on the house, the appetizers and the desserts. When he delivered the dessert, he said, "I know you've been waiting, Mr. and Mrs. Gallo, so this is on the house." When I asked him at the end of the meal, "Why did you do that?" he actually used the word empower. He said, "I am empowered to do what I think is right for your satisfaction." Empowerment. It's a very important phrase, not only at the Ritz-Carlton, but at the Apple stores as well. People are empowered to do what is right. You know, when Steve Jobs, shortly before he passed away actually, he was talking to Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, and he told Tim, "You know, Tim, people are going to ask, what would Steve do?" Instead, he wanted them to ask, what is the right thing to do for our customers? So empower employees to do the right thing. Now, speaking of Steve Jobs, he once said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." I think you could steal a lot of principles from the Ritz-Carlton. This legendary customer service inspired the Apple Store to elevate its customer experience. I'm sure the Ritz-Carlton can inspire you as well.